It's finally there, the new Opel Astra. As you can tell, it doesn't have very much in common with its predecessor. And today we want to find out what is new and how will it match its competitors in that segment. And with that, welcome to the Ref Check.
It's been called the Astra since 1991, but the model actually launched in 1936 as the Opel Kadett.
The general driving impression in the new Astra is really pleasant. It is extremely silent in here, especially for a compact car. The reason for that is that they have a laminated front window and the side windows are laminated as well, and that way they will keep the noise outside, and I think you really feel that while driving. So I really enjoy the driving experience you have in that car.
Not all the competition offered that as standard.
Engine-wise, you have quite the choice with the new Astra. There is a 1.2-liter gasoline engine that comes in two different power sizes, either 110 or 130 horsepower. And there is a 130 horsepower, 1.5-liter diesel engine for those that drive longer distances quite regularly. But for those driving longer distances, there also is the hybrid version, and that is a novelty in the Astra, the plug-in hybrid. It is available with two different power outputs, either 180 horsepower that we're testing right now, or in a bigger version, 225 horsepower, that will come later this year. And for those that don't want any combustion engine in their car, they'll have to wait until 2023, because then the Astra will become available as a fully electric battery vehicle. One of my highlights about the new Astra is definitely the rear. I mean, look at these rear lights. They are very thin and reach very far into the trunk lid. Talking about the trunk lid, that one is made from plastic and not from metal. That way you will save a lot of weight, and it's of course easier to handle. At least that's what the designers say. And the third braking light is really nice as well. It's only very small, so compared to the usually you have these long ones, and that one is small. It reminds me of a sports car, of a race car rather to say. I really like it. The trunk of the new Opel Astra can fit between 422 and around 1,340 liters. The plug-in hybrid version is 70 liters below that, simply because of the battery under the trunk. It has 12.4 kilowatt hours of energy, and that way you will be able to go around 60 kilometers purely electric. If you only drive in the city, then you can go more than 75 according to WLTP.
A VW Golf has over 100 liters less trunk space. By the way, this isn't the first time we're driving the new Astra. A few months ago, we got to test out the pre-production car and give Opel engineers our feedback.
During the validation drive, I had the impression that the steering was way too soft. You had no feedback from the road, and I also told that to the guys from Opel, and they said they will definitely take this into consideration when working on the final car. And now I can tell you they did. This feels way better. You have contact with the road, you feel the resistance when you try to steer, and that's exactly what I would like from a car. During the validation drive, I was not able to show you the interior, or I was not allowed. I had seen it, and now you can see it as well. This is what it looks like. I think it's really good looking. You have two 10-inch displays. One is the instrument cluster and the other one is the infotainment system. You can optionally get those with some glass over them, which makes them look even more high quality, but they will not have bigger displays. So those are standard in every Astra version, and I really like that fact. Apart from that, you have the steering wheel with some buttons for the most important functions and some buttons right below the infotainment system for the most important functions as well. For example, climate control, seat heating and seat cooling, which the Astra also has as an option. You don't see that very often in that class. And other functions as well, and I really like that. So if you compare that, for example, to VW's Golf or Seat's Leon, they don't have any buttons, so anything you're looking for, you need to find it in the infotainment system via the touchscreen, and I'm not a friend of that, so very well done, Opel.
Other competitors like Audi and Hyundai also kept the buttons.
The thing I mentioned during the validation drive that I didn't like was the sound of the indicator. And back then I thought, okay, this is like some testing sound. They will change it when the finished car comes onto the market. And guess what? The sound is still the same. It's a little less loud than it was in the test car, but it's still the same. It's like that little hamster drumming on those empty PET bottles. It is that much different from the sounds you usually hear in other cars, but I guess after a while you will get used to it. What a car nowadays needs is, of course, a head-up display, and the Astra has that. What I really like about it is not only does it look good, but it's also easy to operate. So you can adjust it via the same button that you use to adjust your side mirrors. So if you ask me, that is quite intuitive, and I instantly found it when I looked at that button. So I like the idea of Opel, that not to hide that, I don't know, behind the steering wheel or in some menu.
Optional Intelilux LED Pixel headlights enable the Astra to shine light around corners without blinding anyone, thanks to 168 single LED elements. The system also automatically dims the high beams.
A thing that is really good about the hybrid Astra is you can preserve range. You can simply do that via the menu right here. You press E-Save, and then you can choose either 10, 20, or the maximum kilometers. So for example, if you're driving on the highway and you know your trip is going to end in a zone where you're only allowed to drive purely electric, and such zones will definitely come in the future in bigger cities, then you can simply preserve range and you will be fine.
Just as with its predecessors, the new Astra will also be available as a station wagon. The Sports Tourer, as it's called, features the same engines as the standard Astra and will also be available as a purely electric model in 2023, filling the gap in the EV station wagon market.
My final verdict on the new Opel Astra, it is the perfect car if you ask me. It looks very good, it has a lot of new technical stuff inside, and it also had a lot of amenities. And despite all of that, Opel managed to keep the price the same as with the predecessor. We're talking about 22,500 euros in Germany. And that is a very good price if you consider that an entry-level Golf, for example, will cost you at least 28,500 euros.